Listen, we were in
know what happened at the restaurant.
Yeah, we do.
All right, one at a time.
Kidnapping is a federal offense. There's no discussion here.
Lieutenant, they can't just walk in and kick us off our case.
It's not your case, it's my case.
Yeah, right, Ray.
Sir, perhaps I can be of assistance.
Who's he?
He's a Mountie.
What's he doing here?
Never entirely sure.
Lieutenant, I understand your dilemma. In Canada, we have more than a passing familiarity with confusion. We're comprised of 10 provinces and 2 territories communicating across 6 time zones in 2 official languages. The English don't understand the French don't understand the English, and the Inuit, quite frankly, couldn't give a damn about either of them. Added to the equation is the Assembly of First Nations, with a total of 633 separate Indian bands speaking 180 sub-dialects among their 50 linguistic groups. And as if that weren't enough, there are some fishermen on the East Coast with a remarkably whimsical accent.
There is a point to this, I assume.
Oh, yes, sir, I believe so. The key that we have found is in compromise. I would suggest that we devise a plan that would use everyone to the best of their abilities.
This man knows nothing about police work. Get him out of here.
Right, please.
I thank you for your time.
Welcome to Flyby Films. Once or twice a month, using the magic of distance-defying tubes or some stupid shit like that, we get together to discuss films that either have been or will be forgotten. I'm Blake Collier, and with me in the great sovereign state of California, ruled by the Batman villain turned king, Gavin Newsom, is my friend and co-host, Jameson Barsotti. On this episode, we are going to be talking about Cecil B. DeMille's 1940 film Northwest Mounted Police. Now, listeners may be asking at this point, when did y'all decide to turn your sights to the great northern climes of Canada? Jameson, why are we turning our sights on our brothers in red?
Well, I think that's because, and correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, we have a brother in red on the podcast from the great country of Canada. Right?
Or as I like to say, Canada.
Hesitate over the term of country or nation. It's debatable, right? But yes, I am technically north of the 49th parallel.
Beautiful. I love it. So we've got a true blue film critic on the show tonight, and he is scoffing at this point, but he's been doing this for a while. Like, he and his brothers are legit film critics. They may not think they are, but they count in my book. Yeah, go ahead.
How many colors do you think we are going to describe Aaron with? We've so far come out of the gate with red, and you just said blue.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, if you could pick a color, what would you choose to describe yourself?
Well, definitely, I don't want to say yellow.
Oh, come on. What's wrong with yellow?
Or yellow-bellied. What's the old-fashioned terms for, like, he's green? He's a rookie.
Oh, he's a rook. He's a rookie. Yeah.
I don't know. In terms of describing myself as a color, pink.
I
feel like it's like the classic when you're a kid, you're like, I'm a white guy, so I'm gonna go grab the pink pencil crayon and color myself in.
I always I could never figure out what crayon like fit best because there were.
I felt like I settled on peach. Peach felt the closest, I think.
Yeah,
I think
but
we
it's
all
not
did.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, peach like a peach outline with like darker red on the cheeks and like, maybe a little bit of highlight with the pink, just to give it a little texture. Yep. No, I've been there. I've done it.
So Aaron is a true peach film critic. And how long have you been doing that for?
I mean, we launched Three Brothers Film back in 2011. But honestly, I feel like I really started legit film criticism when I moved to Toronto in 2015, and then Toronto Film Scene was a entity which actually had like a surprisingly wide viewer base. I was kind of shocked by how large their Twitter following was or how many readers they would get. I fell in them for a few years, and that thing completely died. So back to Three Brothers Film, and then a few hits on things like Black Wall Dark Room, Bright Wall Dark Room,
Bright Wall Dark Room. Yep. Yeah, I do that all the time.
Other things,
that's right.
Yeah. But I still would chafe at the idea that I'm a true blue film critic. I don't know. I don't know if there's that many real film critics anymore. Like they just fired Michael Phelps from the Chicago Tribune. I don't know.
I didn't hear that. How did they do that? What?
Well, because so basically a new like venture capitalist, I think, purchased the Tribune whole everything and then was offering these buyouts and they hit him. Apparently going forward, they're going to have no dedicated theater or film critics. They're only going to have people who have a kind of multiple hat scenario in terms of their criticism.
Didn't the New York Times do something similar recently?
For the most part, but I still think they have a few dedicated film critics on there, like Alyssa Wilkinson and stuff. But
yeah, I think Alyssa Wilkinson is still at the New York Times.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know how many people are left standing. I feel like a lot of film critics now are Substackers or YouTubers would not describe themselves that way. They describe themselves differently. But I kind of pride myself on being old-fashioned, so sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a film critic in my book because I've been following Three Brothers Film for a long time, and I've listened to Three Brothers Filmcast off and on for the essential started, which was probably like 2017.
No, that was during COVID. That was 2020. The podcast started, but yeah, it was very much like we're not seeing each other enough. We should start this so that it's easier than writing the roundtables. So let's just do that.
No, that makes sense. Awesome. Yeah. So Aren Bergstrom, Three Brothers Film and Filmcast. Thank you for joining us.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't get that many invites, so I very much appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. And it was funny that Aren and I got reconnected. Like I said, I'd been following him for probably since 2016, 2017, thereabouts.
Yeah.
And we had, I guess, tweeted each other a few times. I actually knew Anders, weirdly, before I knew you. And I don't remember how I got to know him. It may have just been a random Twitter interaction that I had with him. But then I found out he wrote for Three Brothers, and then I was like, oh, wait, there's three of them. Oh, wow. Okay. And so, yeah. But I hadn't heard from you in a while, and I noticed that you had a Substack, so I followed it. And then I noticed that you hadn't really posted anything for since 22 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I saw this email in my or a Substack email saying, oh, a new article from Aren. I was like, whoa. So I read that and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this guy. I'm gonna slide into his DMs and see what he's up to. So here we are. I conned him into getting on our podcast, our sad podcast. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna talk about Cecil B. Demille, who I don't know if y'all know, but he did a lot of Bible movies.
He did a lot of epics.
A lot.
Yeah.
And I mean at least like 3. I was looking at I was actually looking at IMDb last night to see how many he actually made, and I was surprised at how it was actually closer to 3 or 4 instead of I was thinking it was 10, 12, something like that. He just seems like the guy who does biblical epic. And he really didn't do as many as you would think. So
yeah, but he did a lot of epics, right? He still worked in that vein. So something like Sign of the Cross from 32, it wouldn't count as a biblical epic because it's the church after, it's during Nero, it's the early Christians hiding in the midst of Roman persecutors. You got the awesome scenes in the Colosseum of them getting massacred by tigers and bears and stuff, but it's not technically a biblical epic because it's afterwards. But I still feel like in my mind immediately I was like, well, Sign of the Cross and those kind of films kind of count, and they're in the broader stream of it.
Very much so.
You did some apocryphal epics. That's what it is. Yeah. I have a confession. This was my first Cecil B. DeMille film. I was actually more familiar with the
Did you not go to public school?
No,
You don't
I
watch
didn't.
Ten Commandments. That's madness.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I've seen Ten Commandments, but like I don't
Okay.
know. Like I was a kid. Yeah. So I recant that. But
So you've seen like of that 4 hours, you've seen like 90 minutes cut
yeah.
into pieces at various points in your life.
On TNT with
I've
commercials in
definitely,
between.
yeah, wanted to go back and watch Ten Commandments as like a ode to that time of life where I had to kind of watch it and pay attention. But yeah, I am much more familiar with the John Waters film Cecil B. Demented, which
Yeah.
I don't even remember much about that other than it was weird. But yeah,
Well, it's John Waters. Of course, it's going to be weird. Yeah, I was a little taken aback when you said that you hadn't seen any Cecil B. DeMille. I mean, I feel like if you're in public school, like you're going to watch the Ten Commandments at some point.
But
like there's no way around it.
I was homeschooled. You know this, Blake. I wasn't public school.
But your mom.
This is true.
How
This
did
is
she
true.
not?
Yeah. We had it on, during Easter time, but it wasn't like a sit down and watch it sort of thing. So
No, that's fair. Y'all were too busy watching what? Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, or I don't know, some other Jimmy Stewart like family flick.
We watched my mind is blanking. It's a Wonderful Life, which is actually a really great movie from my childhood. Yeah.
For the longest time, I thought that it was fine, but nothing to really like talk about. And then I rewatched it, and I was like, oh no, this actually is really great.
There's a reason why this is a classic.
Yeah.
My parents weren't all wrong. So
No.
It's not just sentiment over Christmas or that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Nope, definitely not. Yeah, so Jameson, I need to ask you a question.
Okay. Go for it.
What is your worst film of the year so far?
Worst film of the year?
Just in general, like it can be new, but also just anything you've watched this year. Like, what's the worst one you've watched?
This year,
and don't say Quigley, because that one is we're taking that one out of the category because we did that to ourselves.
I mean, Axum was definitely worse than Quigley.
That's also another one we did to ourselves. So
yeah. So thanks, Ian.
Okay, so let's separate the ones that we did this year out of the equation of the non fly-by films covered films. What's the worst one you've seen?
So this is a hard question for me because I feel like it's been a pretty like middling year for movies. Like I haven't seen anything great and I haven't seen anything terrible. But I think this is mostly because I haven't seen a lot of things because I've been busy. Like I probably have seen more movies than I'm giving myself credit for right now, but nothing is really sticking out as terrible. I'm trying to think. Oh, I had wait a second. That was last year. When did Poor Things come out?
That was
like
last
2
year.
years.
No.
Oh, was it 2 years ago? Maybe it was.
2023. That was 2023 December, but then like the awards, it was early 2024.
Well, that was the last movie that I hated my theater going experience, but I think that was that wasn't just the movie. That was rude people in front of me who wouldn't stop talking. And that was like first date night out in a long time to actually finally get a chance to watch a movie, and then ruined by
first
theater
off,
goers.
First date night in a long time. Why would you pick Yorgos Lanthimos? Period.
He's
like,
a Greek.
Why?
He's a Greek boy like me. So
it's true. Telly Savalas is your grandfather, so it makes sense.
There's that kinship there. I gotta support them Greeks.
Oh gosh.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really care about like the movie. Like we went to see Weapons recently, which actually I did really enjoy. didn't hate, but we saw it on our anniversary. So like, I don't really like pick the movies in tone for the events. I just am like, oh, I'll be interested in this. Man,
Let's
I
just
don't
roll
know.
with it.
Yeah, let's just go with Poor Things. That's my choice.
Okay. All right. So, Aaron, I've got a different question for you. Very same category,
Okay.
but I want to hear what is the worst film you've seen this year that was a critical darling that you just strongly disagree with.
I mean, probably Superman.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
I really didn't think James Gunn was the right guy for it.
Gotcha.
I'm not even a huge James Gunn hater. I kind of I appreciate the first Guardians movie and well enough. I thought Peacemaker, the first season, was okay. I haven't watched the second one. I understand his shtick, like his blend of kind of cynical, over the top, not really Whedon-esque geek humor, but it's in that vein of like goes one step further of like it's kind of knowing, and because it's knowing, it really is very comfortable in making fun of how absurd or stupid the elements of the genre worlds that he inhabits are. But then he's also always pairing that with like a sentimentalism that I find pretty hard to justify if it exists in the same world. So like, for example, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I hate that movie. And I hate that movie mostly because it builds its entire emotional arc over this idea that Kurt Russell's planet god thing, whatever, the daddy who comes and shows up and deals with Chris Pratt's Star-Lord. You know, it's all about him reconnecting with his real dad, right? And then you have Michael Rooker's Yondu throughout the movie, and there's kind of this parallel plot of the dad that, you know, he was the guy who was like my father figure. He was kind of abusive and a piece of shit and stuff. But well, at the end of the day, he was maybe the real dad, the dad I needed, the dad who really deserved. And the movie like wants to make you really emotional over that revelation, that realization, over, you know, aligning you with Star-Lord. But it's like, wait a second, you just spent a movie and a half setting up that Yondu is like mass murderer, kidnaps children, completely like inappropriate, horrible person. But then you also want him, so you're going to make a million jokes at his expense, and then you're also going to be like, well, you should cry when he dies. Yeah. And I just hate that kind of approach. And so it's taken into the Superman world. I found Superman a movie where it's constantly talking about, oh, Superman is this ideal. He's this goodness, this lightness, this purity that we all need in the world. But actually, formally and narratively, we're not that interested in Superman, and we're going to sideline him constantly in favor of the Justice Gang, which is like Green Lantern and Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific especially. And they can kill anybody they want, but the movie's going to pay lip service to the fact that Superman will never kill anybody. He's going to go to his way to save a squirrel. It's literally a scene in the movie.
Wow.
And then it's like, oh, Superman, it's the ray of light we need. It's like, well, it's the ray of light we need apparently, but the movie's very stylistically and narratively ambivalent about actually anything that Superman does, and seems to be entirely aligned with all the asshole characters. And so it's a movie that like wants to have its cake and eat its too. And I'm just like, no, I know this is movies a reaction against Zack Snyder. I get that Zack Snyder's not for everyone, but Man of Steel is a movie that's actually way more interested in what it means for Superman to exist in the world than this movie. This movie is like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if Superman was a kind of corny guy that we can all smirk and smile at and be like, wow, gosh, gee, that's awesome. Well, let me just like shoot this dictator in the head and then we'll move on.
Okay. Nice.
Aaron, as you were describing Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I remember I watched it on a plane, and I had that same like roller coaster of feelings, like, oh yeah, and then I kind of walked away. I don't think I hated it in the sense that I just like was like, that's completely forgettable. Like I didn't buy that at all or get onto it. So yeah, now I'm not interested in seeing the Superman movie.
Honestly, I felt like I saw a different movie than a lot of people, because the way that I have really stepped back from arguing with people online about movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's mostly a waste of time, but with some discords and whatnot of certain folks that I collaborate with on larger like group, I don't know, like arts and faith people and things like that. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
them really went for Superman, and I was kind of baffled. I was just like, "Can you explain why you found this so inspiring?" And it was just a lot of like, "Well, the movie is actually interested in these dichotomies and these tensions and stuff." I'm like, "It's not really. It has like 2 lines where it says something to like gesture at this, but it's not." I'm like, "Come on, the movie tells you what it's interested in by what it like its camera is doing. If the camera is saying that this guy just absolutely dispatching these people in like a really brutal way is the coolest shit ever, it's actually saying that that's the cool stuff, not the corny thing that somebody says like, well, that's what a real hero is." Like.
So you're saying that like the technical aspects of the film are actually countering the dialogue, the spoken dialogue of the film, and which is a pretty common element, at least, right? Being a writer in the film criticism world, especially in the Christian film criticism world, we tend to focus too much on dialogue and not enough on the technical and what the camera is actually showing us as a way to either support the dialogue or to take away from it. I know I've definitely been culpable of that. I tend to not be very mindful of the technical aspects of film and just focus in on themes and dialogue and whatnot. But I think I can see that being the case. And I admit, I'm not a big superhero fan, like at all. And up until last year, I think it was, whenever Jameson picked Batman Forever to watch on the show, I had gone 5 years without seeing a single superhero film. And intentionally, because I just got tired of them. And so I watched that one, and I finally watched The Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it overly long, but I still found it, it's a good Batman movie. I mean, I think I just was thrown off by the amount of time. 3-hour movies, they have to be really good these days for me to really like dig into them. And
I
so
feel like that status quo now, though, is like
Yeah,
you go to a
it
movie
is.
in theaters and it's above
Yeah.
2 hours.
And so when I saw the preview for Superman, I was like, "Oh, this looks light and fun." But I mean, I should have thought about it, and I've been like, "This is the same James Gunn who did Slither," which, don't get me wrong, I love that film, but I don't think he's changed all that much. I don't think people changed that significantly, and I think his interests have probably changed over the years, but I don't know if his stylistic elements have shifted significantly. And I saw the first Guardians. I think I saw half of Guardians 2, and for whatever reason, just never returned to finish it. So, but yeah, a friend of mine sent me just a screenshot of a scene from Superman with a bunch of monkeys typing on typewriters.
Oh, well,
And I was like, "What is that?"
So, me and my brothers didn't even get into this in the our whatever July episode of the podcast that we covered Superman, and then we talked about the old Christopher Reeve movie specifically in it. And the movie is really, really, it's like commenting on a political climate that seemed to be relevant in like 2021 or something. Like it's so there's this whole plot about like, oh, all the tweets are like all these social media hashtags are really anti-Superman, and I was like, you're talking about hashtags in a Superman movie? Like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah,
that's not a thing.
No.
like it's going back to almost Russiagate stuff of like the bots. Well, that's why the world is so bad, because the bots. Because you find out that all these monkeys are just the bots that Lex Luthor is having to type like, Superman sucks. I hate Superman. And this is supposed to be an incisive comment on how culture turns against that which is good. And you're like, no, this is just part of this movie's sense of geopolitics and culture being like really stupid, which is fine within a comic book movie, because I don't necessarily expect a comic book movie to comment on that stuff. But if you're going to wade into their You gotta
Didn't
give
do
me
well.
you gotta give me at least like Dark Knight Rises level of you're trying. You're at least
Yeah.
trying to comment on the culture.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, that was the first time that I was like, oh, I started backing away. I was like, because I had actually thought about trying to see it in theaters. That didn't end up happening. But then he sent me that. And I was like, how does that fit? What? And I knew just from looking, I was like, I bet I know the commentary behind this, but I don't like it already, and I doubt that there's much to it. So, yeah, I was a little thrown off by that image taken from the movie. But yeah, I think for me, if I'm gonna turn the tables on myself and say that probably the worst thing I've seen this year, and like Jameson, I haven't seen a whole lot of the new stuff, anyways. I think.
It's okay. You
Yeah,
can
man.
pick one from 2023. I already
Well,
I already ripped that Band-Aid off.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, I'm gonna get a lot of bad marks, but I'm not a big Denis Villeneuve fan, so I'll say I'm not gonna say Dune because I actually like Dune, but I'm gonna say Arrival was my least favorite. I haven't even seen it this year, but
it's like 10 years ago.
Also, Arrival is his best movie. I've come around to that.
It's not his best movie, but
okay.
I do like it.
Let's drop this, right? Okay, let's get the punching bags out. Come on.
I think Arrival.
I really like Arrival. I'm a huge Denis fan. Like, I'm huge.
That's what I knew. I was like, I'm gonna get bad marks for this.
I think that one is better than the book or the story that it's based on, too. Like, I think that he does a better jotter of telling it. But
I haven't read the Tenche, so I can't comment on that.
I've listened to it, so maybe if I read through it and spent more time with it, I'd have a more nuanced take. But I listened to it and it was good. But I kept thinking, man, I want to watch Arrival now. So, rewatch it. But anyway,
please tell me it's not Prisoners that you would pick it as his number one.
For me? No.
Yeah.
My favorite's Dune.
Thank God.
I am a like absolute Dune head. Like I
was impressed by it.
I have
seen and I know nothing about
Dune more than any movie released in the last 20 years.
Okay. That's impressive.
Like, I saw it. I was so angry when in Canada they went back into like a mini lockdown in Ontario in early 2022, which means I couldn't keep seeing it in IMAX because I was like so into the IMAX experience of just those opening shots of the spice harvesters and like the Harkonnen guards out there with their gun. I was like, man, I need this to escape from how awful my remote lifestyle is, where I'm like never leaving the house. I need to experience the magic of 10,000 years in the future.
This is gonna break your heart, though. I still haven't seen Dune 2.
I mean, you got a year and a bit to catch up before Dune Part 3. So
okay, well that's good. But I actually came out of theaters, and I was part of the reason I was combating my dislike of Villeneuve and what I had just witnessed, and I was like, am I gonna have to like finally say that I liked something he made? And I came around. I was like, I mean, it's well made. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful film.
Have you liked a Sufjan Stevens album yet, too? Because I feel like that's your other the other thing that we need to finally get. You, Blake.
I mean, you know which one I like. The electronic album. Age of Odds or Age of Ads or whatever. Yeah.
That's his best one too. So
yeah.
I don't love Sufjan Stevens, but I quite like the 2 songs for "Call Me by Your Name" that he did.
You know, I think I've heard
Visions
this?
of Gideon is one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I forget the other one, but I don't even love that movie that much. I just really like the soundtrack. It's one of those things where it's become like there's certain movies that are in my I don't know, like decent movie, great soundtrack pantheon.
Yeah.
That's in there. Apollo 11 and a half by Richard Linklater's in there, which is like
Okay.
if you need the perfect time capsule, space age, every possible like needle drop hit that you could possibly want that gets you back to that era, but in such a much more rigorous sense than a Fear Street movie or something.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's a good example too. But
Oh, that's it. Fear Street, Prom Queen, worst film I've seen.
This year.
Yeah, this year. Thank you for bringing that up, Aaron.
I
I
feel
almost
bad that I
forgot.
even felt the need to watch it, but I was like, okay, I was weirdly invested in writing on these movies in 2021. I got to keep watching them, I guess.
Well, the first trilogy was really good. I found it to be quite well done and entertaining.
Well, I
and so
liked it
was
until
like,
the final one, which I thought
Yeah.
needed to be two separate movies or something.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Although I think on the whole, it's probably they pulled it off better than they probably should have pulled it
Absolutely.
off. But yeah, I mean, I found them to be deeply entertaining, and I expected the same from this one, and it was just nothing. It was uninteresting, and there's nothing about it. Like even I was like, oh, well, there's a couple of people, blasts from the past that I haven't seen in years. Or I didn't even know they were still alive. And I was like, okay, well, this might be kind of fun. I don't know. It depends on what they do. And they just did nothing with it. And I was like, okay, well, that was a waste of 2 hours. So, well, but that's not the first time I've wasted 2 hours on Netflix. So, at the end of the day, I guess it doesn't matter.
I think that's what it's made for.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
If
steal
you can
your
even
time.
find something, which is mostly me, I just, spend an hour trying to pick something and then I end up not watching anything. So, but
Blake, can I have a second go at this? And can I
Yeah.
choose TV?
yes.
I would like to throw Yellow Jackets season 3 for consideration of worst thing that I've watched. So,
I've pretty much heard that it's not good past season 1.
yeah, I think that's right. I enjoyed the tone of season 1 and just kind of
Yeah.
the feel. And actually, it had some good needle drops, but by season 3, all of the good things have dissipated. It's basically 5 characters that all kind of end up in the same conversations constantly, and they learn nothing from them, and then they move on, and they keep
That's beautiful.
talking about how they backstab each other or they love each other so much, and it's terrible. So
So you're telling me that they needed some Aaron Sorkin power going in there.
I just think they need to
Make
end.
that comment, make that dialogue just snappy. Make them walk
They're-
around while they're talking.
Yeah, they. I think they just need to decide what's going to happen. It's got kind of a Lost syndrome where every time something good happens, they have to kind of create something bad just out of thin air that's not justified at all
To keep the people watching.
just to keep the people watching. And their choice is just to kind of make the characters more evil as we go through this. Because, of course, they're dealing with trauma, and that's kind of what it was about. Like, these soccer players went through this big traumatic event, surviving a plane crash, and had to live out in the woods. But then they start doing kind of unjustifiably evil things to stay in that zone. So, I don't know. It's not fun anymore. So,
Is it still on, or is that the final season?
it didn't end, so I think unless it gets canceled, it'll keep going. But
There's so many shows that just Yellow Jackets is one of those shows where there was a period where I heard I have not seen it, but I heard a lot of really good things about it, and I was like, okay, some of the people involved, it's kind of curious. It's got some interesting stylistic things from the little snippets I've seen, but I'm just like, what's the arc here?
I don't think they have one. I don't think they know where it's going, and that's why it just seems like it's spinning in circles. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you what season is good. Alien Earth. Everyone, no one.
I haven't
seen
watched it yet. I want to
I
watch it. I'm
watched-
just so
It's so
behind on
good.
TV.
Yeah,
I watched the first episode last night. We finally got to sit down, and I enjoyed it. It was more build up than I thought it was going to be, which was kind of neat. So
just wait till you get to the second and third episodes, then you'll start getting a little bit more
yeah,
action, but still build up. Yeah,
yeah,
I think he's in it for the long game, which is what I like about Noah Hawley in general. Is he's more interested in the actual dynamics of the show and what he can do with it. I think he's got the long game in mind most of the time. Although I never saw the one movie he directed that got completely trashed by critics. So I can't say if he does well with 2-hour motion pictures or not, but he does pretty well with TV, at least in my opinion. So
Yeah, Fargo, aside from season 4, which it's not even like a written issue. It's just casting Chris Rock is a huge problem. You should never cast him as the lead in a dramatic period
that's
piece.
fair. He was a weak link, although I really like that season still. But
it's an interesting season for how it connects so many other elements in the show together, and its thematics, and I think it's on the one hand a little too much trying to be the like let's give you the black view of what the show has been, which is a very like vanilla white like that is Fargo, right? But then the Chris Rock thing, I'm just like, oh my god, man, like I quite like you as a comedian, even in the movies that he's directed. I think he's pretty good in those kind of dramedies, like something like Top 5. But no, I'm just like, you're not up to par with these other actors in these scenes. You can't hold the screen with them. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, I remember we had Jameson and I had a conversation. We thought that season 5 was one of the worst in the sense that it seemed to wear politics more on its sleeve than I think
I can see that.
Than I think it normally is expected of Fargo. Or at least doesn't complicate it in interesting ways.
The John Hamm character is pretty much written as a point to make and not really a character. I will say season 5, the thing that I really enjoy is being like, oh yeah, Juno Temple is actually a really good actor.
Yeah. And they had a Death Eater, which is amazing.
Yeah, I feel like it comes back around to be much more interesting near the end. I still need to rewatch it. I tried rewatching all of them, and I got hung up on season 3, and I didn't like it so much.
Season 3 was hard for me too, but wait, season 3 is the one with
Ewan McGregor's.
I remember really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I remember really enjoying it my first go, and then my second go was kind of a slug, and I couldn't get through it. I still think the first season is the best, but I enjoyed parts a lot of season 4. Like I enjoyed Ben Wishaw's character, and Timothy Oliphant's. Speaking of Alien Earth, like he was so like despicable, but also kind of this like upright character. I thought that was interesting. How that all played out. So I don't know. That one stuck with me.
Season 2 stan. So
I like season 2 a lot.
But that's partly because of you bring Bokeem Woodbine into a story, and I'm there. I'm there.
Maybe that's why you like 4 so much. Fan. It leads back. It's the origin story.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah. I like season 2 because I love how he works so hard at becoming, the best in his organization, and he's awarded with a corporate job.
Yeah, middle manager.
Yep.
Yeah. So I just think that's such a great joke. Great joke. Yeah.
Well, that's such a Coen move too. Like that is exactly what the Coen brothers would have done, and I think that's why I think they continue, or at least it seems like the Coens have largely given their seal of approval on the show as a whole. because it seems like Holly does understand like the humor that the Coens bring into it, even if there's a lot of gore and violence and whatnot, and a lot of dark themes going along there, but they always kind of end with a joke of some sort, and I think he understands that, and I think not most of the episodes or most of the seasons end with some kind of note that you're like, you think about it and you're like, oh, that is actually weirdly funny on an existential level. So yeah, the Death Eater, especially on season 5, the final scene where he's talking about his, she basically gives him the monologue of like, I don't remember how it goes, but his whole viewpoint, his whole like visage just changes, and it's like this moment of grace, and he's like, oh, like I can actually enjoy this food, and you're just like, that's really fucking sad, but also considering the character we've just been watching this whole show going through that at the end of the episode or end of this season, it's kind of hilarious at the same time. So I don't know. It works. It shouldn't have worked. Fargo as a TV show should have never worked, and somehow he pulled it off. So, yeah. Hey, Jameson, what about AI? Wait, what are your thoughts on AI lately?
What are my thoughts on AI?
We have like 5 more minutes.
Well, okay. I mean, you know how I feel. Like, it's complicated, but I do want to say I make money by AI. Like, that's my job. So I'm not fully against it, but definitely don't believe everything AI tells you. That's my hot take. It's not a hot take. It's a very medium take.
Aaron, Jameson has a doctorate in math. He's a very smart dude. But he has a tendency to like just kind of back away from really hard stances on things. And I've tried to work on this with him. It's okay to just say that, AI fucking sucks and just move on. You can make money off it. It's fine, whatever. We all use it. It's called being on the internet. Like, AI is everywhere. So we all end up using it somehow.
Well, the big news from AI this week was that MIT released that study that said like 95% of AI ventures fail, so people aren't making money off it, and I guess that like affected the market somehow. I don't know, because people are dumb and they think that AI will come up with a problem to solve, and so the whole idea is that, yeah, if you don't have a well-defined like use case for it, that in the parameters of what it can do, I'm going to use it for this, then yeah, it's going to fail because you just didn't think through it. So I don't know.
Good. Okay,
it wasn't surprising to me. So
I didn't check press releases, but I'm guessing Sam Altman released another video shortly after that study came out, disproving all of the study cases and whatnot.
Okay. I mean,
oh no, did he? I don't know.
Oh no,
he seems to be big on coming out and assuring people that AI is good.
I honestly don't listen to anything he says because his whole idea is to just pump it up. And
I thought this was your job.
No, my job is a very specific use case of it. I work for a pet health insurance company. Actually, we started in Canada, so yeah, it's a Canadian American pet insurance company.
Venture. Okay. What? Aaron, do you have thoughts? Do you have hot takes on AI?
I mean, I don't know. We don't want to get into it. I hate that it's even called AI. Yeah. It should just be called LLM. Like, that's literally the way that most people should think about it. It is not cog. It's not aware. It's not iRobot. Let's just not talk about that. And so it becomes around use case. But the issue is that most people, I feel like AI has become this thing where it's just revealing that most people are really stupid and lazy, right? We all know this. That's not a
Yeah.
like surprise. But the issue with specifically like the Chat GPT, DeepSeek, Claude, whatever approach to AI, the specific verbiage generator, I don't think most people realize how much words are meant to be an actual expression of their own thoughts. And so if they outsource the entirety of all the words that they should generate in every given every given situation, whether it's a text message they need to send to their boss to say they're sick, or an email they have to send to a family member that they don't want to about some event, or an actual piece of content they're going to publish on a website, that if you outsource that, you are not actually thinking anymore. You are now just telling a machine to generate based off of the parameters of what is the broadly accepted version of this type of communication. You should just generate that in my place. And so it's like when in 2008, when the movie WALL-E came out, I was like, I liked the movie more for the early going silent experience of the robot on the planet than the later human stuff. But now I'm like, oh yeah, the human stuff is the way more accurate part of it.
Yeah.
That's what we are now. Where it's like Amazon brings me my treats and AI does my thinking for me. And I just want to be a big blob consuming things. And that's it.
Yep.
I don't want to actually have to. I shouldn't be bothered with thinking about how I should appropriately respond to somebody who's feeling like stressed today. AI, do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just enabling all of our worst impulses. About whether it's like a bubble or whatnot, I'm not plugged in enough on the economics or the financial aspects of it. I think it probably is, in the sense that like the metaverse was a fake thing, or some of the various technological revolutions that we've been told will redefine the way we work and our approach to technology in the workday has been proven to be a lie, basically nonstop since the .com bubble. So I'm skeptical that AI will actually meaningfully remake the way we work. That said, there's obviously use cases for it. If you want to discover new proteins and stuff that you're going to develop for various treatments, or you're going to do these extreme medical things where like we need to run through like 1 billion variations of what this possibly could be before we can settle on something that we should actually pursue. Yeah, that makes sense, because this thing works way faster than an actual human, but it's not generating new things, it's generating old things. And in that case, it's feeding off of research data that's really rich, right? But on the Chat GPT side, it's feeding off of like Reddit shit. So it's like, no wonder this is dog shit. It's literally just feeding off the stupidest people responding to things.
Yep.
So so they're like, people are like, oh, this man, I can't tell the difference between a good writer and AI. And I was like, well, yeah, because you're an idiot. That's why you can't tell the difference.
Because you spend too much time on Reddit.
Yeah, it's like you're just constantly talking to these like morons who are just saying insane things.
Yeah.
I think that, like you mentioned, kind of finding new proteins or protein structures. I mean, the way you can kind of set that up is like, what was it, like 10 years ago, they beat people at playing Go, and there's kind of a much closer relationship between that and like the protein structure AI, because like what you could do is you can set it up where it's basically like playing itself millions upon millions upon millions, billions of times, and basically like generating like data to then inform itself how to like play that game better. And if you just kind of parameterize like building proteins as a game, like we need to build structures that fit in these parameters, go for it. Yeah, I'm never going to play the protein building game 1 billion times, but a machine can do that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So yeah,
well, you heard it first here, folks. Jameson is saying that we should gamify cancer research.
Absolutely. In some of these things, but the idea is you still have that cancer research person, that like expert kind of steering this thing. Whereas like
So there's
feel
actually
like
an
Aaron,
intelligence
yeah,
behind the artificial intelligence of it.
yeah, what I feel like Aaron
Okay.
is saying is like you have these people, which yeah, you do, like outsourcing their thoughts, and that's stupid. Like
Yep.
that's terrible. Especially there was this. Have I brought this up on the show? There was a researcher who coined the term stochastic parrots for LLMs, essentially, and that they're just saying the most medium thing, but kind of with a probabilistic twist on it. And so you, yeah, you have these things. I just think it's funny that if you think like, oh, I'm gonna give this machine like a couple of my words to prompt it, and then it's gonna build something complex, that it's going to capture what you actually want is magical thinking, because there's so many ways that a single word, can change the meaning of anything, and we're just not. Yeah, we're just giving it away, giving our thoughts away. We're letting it choose. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right. Well, we're gonna do a hard
Blake,
turn.
you asshole! You got us all hot and bothered about AI again.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. It's on my mind constantly.
All right.
Yeah. So speaking of AI, Cecil B. DeMille's 1940 classic, Northwest Mounted Police. Now, Aaron, where had you? I'm guessing you hadn't seen this before now.
No, but I was always curious about it because it is about the Riel Rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an American movie from 1940 set in my home province of Saskatchewan.
Okay.
Because, like, I was just very curious. I need to engage more with old American movies that are about Canada, and specifically Canada that I know very intimately, so that's why I chose this.
Was this deeply historically accurate?
Stunningly. So the thing that you need to understand, like, I think it's pretty obvious from, you don't need a nuanced and deep understanding of Canadian history to know that this movie is not particularly interested in history at all, or accurate. So in the opening narration of the film, over beautiful shots of the Rocky Mountains, for some reason, even though that's Alberta and British Columbia, it's not Saskatchewan, in which Cecil B. DeMille talks about the proud Métis Nation. And it's pronounced Métis. It's not the Métis. And there is no Canadian. I know people were ignorant at that time period. They probably just call them half-breeds and stuff. Like, that's pretty accurate in the film. Yeah. But, like, Canadians know that even the stupidest redcoat at that time would have known that it's Métis.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
That was Cecil B. DeMille.
Yeah, he does the
narration. Yeah,
he did it through all his Technicolor films, and this was his first Technicolor movie. So it's a notable movie in that sense.
So I do want to just do a small note here. I watched it on YouTube, and it looked shockingly crisp. So potentially there is an AI that's helping upscale the movie at this point. I don't know if there was a big push to maybe to remaster it, for the HD crowd, but it looked really good. So
it did look good because I watched the same one. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I'm guessing there wasn't actually a Texas Ranger that was around during the Riel.
There's nothing about this movie that's accurate at all.
Well, I will say
it's based on a
one
novel,
thing that's accurate. Oh, I have no idea.
Sorry,
is it based on a novel?
Yeah, it is based on a novel. It is based on a novel, but the novel is like one of those classic historical fictions from the 30s. It's historical fiction in the way that like Louis L'Amour is.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or The Virginian, which Gary Cooper, right? Speaking of Gary Cooper.
Makes sense. Well, I will say that there is one accurate aspect of the movie, and that is Dusty Rivers' character, and that Texas Rangers were notorious liars. And that is very apparent throughout this movie that he just lies constantly, and yet somehow he gets the girl. So I
Well,
mean,
Well,
that
not
was
in
my
the
biggest
end.
takeaway.
he doesn't get the girl.
Well, sort of. He gets
No,
her
but-
admiration.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He gets the bad guy, which is the more important.
Yeah. I actually
Yeah,
was
That's
very
true.
taken aback by how much he lies. Like, I was like, I don't know. And part of this is like, my woke brainedness. I'm watching this and I'm like, I don't know who the hero of this movie is. I mean, I know it's Gary Cooper, right? Like, that's who we're supposed to
But
root
is
for.
he? I didn't even get that sense from the movie.
I mean, my guess is that when you watch it in 1940, you are supposed to get that sense. I don't know. I don't know if
Hmm.
Demille was trying to be more nuanced than that.
Oh no, I don't
But,
think he was being
yeah.
more nuanced.
Yeah.
I just think that his technical element of the movie and the way the scenes were shot and like the character building and whatnot. The question I kept asking myself as I was watching is like, who are we supposed to latch on to as our guide through this story? Because he does that, like, and I feel like this is pretty common for this type of movie at this period of time, is that they're wanting to give every aspect or every person or group of people in a movie some semblance of humanity in order to gain some emotional depth or something like that. And it ends up just getting confused as to like who are we actually supposed to be rooting for, or who's our guide here? Like, because at various times, like, you're in the quote unquote shoes of different parties, and you're not sure which one, like, who are you? What is the point of this movie? Like, what's the big like push here? DeMille, and I never could pinpoint what I think he was trying to get at. And maybe y'all have a clearer understanding of that than I do, but it just seemed confused for most of the movie.
No, I felt that way too, and I think a lot of it was Gary Cooper's character wasn't particularly heroic, even when he sets things right. He's lying about it, and they make some jokes about that, but it's not particularly other than his like horse stunt with the gun. He doesn't do anything kind of amazing. He kind of bumbles around a little bit too, is how I felt. So I don't know. Yeah, I have who is the hero written down as like a big question. I don't know in this movie. Like, it kind of felt confused. So I felt
I honestly
similar.
found that the most moving part of the movie was set up as a scene of comedy in the beginning, and that was when the Scotsman and I forget the character's name.
Duroc.
Yeah, Duroc are
Yeah.
sitting there shooting like different like shooting hats and whatnot, and they're
Yeah.
shooting off the sides of their outfits and whatnot. And then he actually gets shot by one of the redcoats from the tower, and he's killed. And I was like, oh, that actually. I was like, okay, like that sucks. Like, these two friends are like taking shit out of each other, and then one of them actually gets killed, and you can see it in the eyes of the Scotsman that, oh, he's like, oh shit, like, this actually did happen. And it was meant for comedy in the moment, and then there's a hard turn to deeply dramatic, and that was the only point in the movie where I was like, I felt something. I was like, oh, you're trying to get at something here, and you don't know what to do with it, because the difficult thing is that you're setting this movie up with a lot of different characters from different places and different contexts, and a lot of moral ambiguity because of that, and you don't know how to relieve that tension, except for these little moments where it's like clearly noting that these two people had a background that was friendly, if not antagonistic, but what's the bigger point? Like, what are you aiming for with these little vignettes? Because I was deeply moved by that scene, even though it kind of amounted to nothing in the big scheme of things.
Yeah, and I mean I think that scene's supposed to be playing on the fact that so in Métis culture, the two so the Scotsman character I believe is supposed to be a half-breed as well.
Okay.
But because he's Scottish, he more aligns with British influences. The whole line of like I could never go against the Queen or whatever. Like I pledge that's my allegiance ultimately.
Which I kind of question, just knowing Scottish history, the little bit I do know. But
I mean, since James, it's a unified crown. It's Queen Victoria at this time. There's a lot of elements there, but like the two sides of Métis culture is the Scottish. So Métis are indigenous or with Europeans. So it's like Plains natives or First Nations, whatever term you use across the two borders. But Plains indigenous with French or Scottish. And the Scottish would generally, it was Scottish men and Cree women. And then with the, Scottish men, Cree women, and then French men and Ojibwe women. And that was like the two main thrusts of it. So you would have a lot of these differences of like a lot of Métis men. Basically, it's like, are you dark haired or are you redheaded?
Mm-hmm.
And that would be like a cultural difference in the set because the Riel, all of them were French in the background. So they were really backed by Quebec, French Canadians, and the French Canada contingent of Lower Canada in that like old British understanding of the colonial dynamics. And that scene is actually like, yeah, it is touching, but it also gets at this like deeper conflict between these two sides of the mixed race people within Canada at that time. It is played for comedy and undercut in a way, but I feel like the overall tone of the scene is meant to make you moved by it, but it also kind of underscores the overall issue with the film, which is like just to take a step back, I don't like holding old movies to like historical standards.
Yeah.
Like they're all ridiculous. And so my issues with this movie are not related to the fact that it's this complete hokum when it comes to the Northwest Rebellion, which like I've long wanted to write a movie about Northwest Rebellion. I think it's fascinating. I've been to Batoche many, many times in my life. Gabriel Dumont and Louis Riel are like some of those historical figures that I find fascinating, like great kind of Canadian heroes of the past. Put all that aside, this movie's just more of like, it's attempting to play your sympathies in multiple directions, but in the weirdest possible manner where I just don't understand it based off the source material. So like it bases a lot of your sympathies with these various side characters, but it almost leaves Louis Riel as like an afterthought in almost the entirety of the movie. He's like barely in it.
Yeah.
He
maybe at the beginning, like you have that school scene in the beginning and then like this weird moment towards the end where he's just there, but he's not like.
Well, yeah. So he's, there's that beginning, and then there's a scene where he's giving a big speech, and it's supposed to be this big moment, and then there's almost no explanation to why he gets captured. Maybe I like missed it or fell asleep or something like that.
No, it really moves fast in terms of its narrative resolution, from Big Bear refusing to join, which again, all hokum. Big Bear was fighting his own, like Big Bear and Poundmaker were having their own rebellion against the Brits at that time. It was kind of a parallel one where they're like, sure, we'll throw in with you guys, but we're not necessarily doing like joint missions. Mm-hmm. He had his own resolution there. It was not based off of a bunch of redcoats coming up and convincing him that he owes fealty to Queen Victoria. Like that is not.
So he wasn't big on being in communion with the men of the brave or whatever the terminology they used. Spirits of the brave, or whatever it was.
Yeah, these coats, the spirits are in the coats.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't probably need even pointing out that Corbo doesn't exist. He's not a historical figure. There's no
hilarious.
whiskey rebellion element in there.
So was he created just for the cooch?
There were
Well,
a lot of. They said cooch a lot in that movie,
No, they did.
which
But that's
I think was a little surprising. But yeah,
man, Cecil B. DeMille. The most DeMille aspect of this movie, aside from the Battle of Duck Lake, which is it's like pretty well done, like large scale battle scene. It's like the most exciting part of the movie. But aside from that, the most DeMille element of it is just his insatiable need to add a like the horniest woman in the history of humankind into the film. Where Louvette, it's like she wants it so bad from Ronnie at every moment in the film.
yeah,
The Music Man, no less.
It's
yeah.
I know. it's I don't even mind, like, as a character, her conception and stuff is fine. The performance, the accent is baffling.
Yeah.
The way she displays is baffling. Whatever, again, that's very of the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think Duroc was he's a Russian actor, and so like his whole accent was very confusing to me.
Again, Duroc, he's trying, the way he looks, he's trying to be Gabriel Dumont. And I don't know why Dumont's not a character in this film. He's the military leader of the Métis. It's because they have to have Corbeau as the, like, he's got the Gatling gun and stuff, right? Which, again, I'm such a nerd of this history. I've been to Batoche too many times, either on school field trips where you go out and learn as a kid, or later when I'm just like, this is just a gorgeous part of the Saskatchewan River. Let's go for a walk. Let's see the old church. Let's see the rifle pits and like Dumont's grave there and stuff. But the Gatling, like,
I think you mean the medicine gun.
Yeah, the medicine gun. Because it's got that's hard medicine.
It's just, well, it's funny because like Corbeau calls it the medicine gun, and then I think later, back in Redcoat Tent, they like start calling it the medicine gun, and I'm like, oh, that's just its name now.
That's gonna be the name of this episode too. That's hard medicine.
No, that's good. That's good. But like, I'm just too much of a nerd of that history to be like, the idea that the Métis are the ones with the Gatling gun is just so insane. If you know anything about the actual Battle of Batoche, where like Dumont and there was only like 500 Métis rebels, like actual armed rebels, and there was 5,000 Northwest Mounted Police and British troops in there. So like it was hugely overwhelmed in terms of the British side. And so the Battle of Duck Lake was like impressive because Dumont beat 1,000 Brits with like 200 men in like guerrilla combat and stuff. So it was like really interesting stuff that he's doing there. But the reason they ultimately surrendered was that they ran out of ammunition, and they were like, there's a steamboat coming down the Saskatchewan with a Gatling gun on it, and it's just going to mow us down. Because the other thing, the other historical accuracy thing or geographic accuracy thing here is like, this movie's, the scenes that are not soundstage here are filmed in Oregon.
No, God.
Saskatchewan is a prairie. It's grassland.
Oh, God.
It's grassland. Like, Batoche is it's like very, very gentle rolling down to a riverside with like bushes and brushland. You have a few trees, but it's like so open, so there's nowhere to hide, and that's the whole thing. It's like, this is very difficult tactical territory. You would never actually thrive in like a classic military setting here against heavy hardware because you have no geographic advantage.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I guess I didn't realize too, and this is coming from someone who's never been to Canada, doesn't know this history, and didn't realize that it was prairie land. And so the idea of course, it's not unusual for, coming from the Texas Panhandle, there's this great movie from the early 2000s, I believe, that was called Happy Texas, which is, there's a small town called Happy Texas, about 15 miles south of my hometown. And they filmed it in the mountains of California, and it was mountainous. And I was like, no, the Texas Panhandle is flat as shit. Yeah. There is no mountain. There might be a lake depression, but that's about it. And so I feel like that's a pretty common thing to just randomly put hills or mountains in a location.
I mean, in this movie, it's all about like Canada is this gorgeous wild north, right? And this needs the forest, needs the mountains. I understand it. I'm not holding this kind of stuff against the movie. It's just why when a moment is like the Gatling gun has such a massive part of the plot of this film, and I'm like, it is literally the complete reverse dynamic in the actual history.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
God.
I like Blake don't know the history, so this is all very fascinating, and it's fun to experience the false reality of it and then
Yeah.
have it corrected here. I just have to say, apologies because I'm California and I feel like we represent Texas, and basically Oregon is California too, so we're representing Canada as well. So sorry, apologies.
I mean, apparently this movie premiered in Regina, Saskatchewan, which I find insane. So Demille, even though he didn't film any of it in Saskatchewan, came up and like premiered it and was like, la-di-da. It was a big, I guess it was a big hit. I think it won the Oscar for film editing due to the battle sequences.
Wow.
That's interesting.
I mean, it makes sense.
The
I
battle,
mean, like you said, it was the best part.
It is
So-
the best part of the movie because DeMille's good with large scale. Like, there's certain shots that he has that are like wide shots of the battle or of the town of Fort Carlton burning down, where you can understand like the depth, and then in stark contrast to films nowadays, you get the fact that it's real sets, real fires, and there's an enormous amount of extras in there, and you're like, okay, there's like a scale of this that is very palpable from a narrative sense. So I appreciate all those elements of like DeMille really knows how to get a full set going and like get the spectacle.
Yeah, I definitely think that's where the strength was. And I will say I had feelings of excitement despite the fact that I do think later on we got better at acting out deaths by guns, because there was a lot of like, and people would stumble around, and there was no blood. Was it during Code? I don't know if that had anything.
Yeah, it would have
to
been
do with
Code.
it. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, because Code doesn't really like dwindle down until what, like the 60s.
60s, yeah.
Bonnie and
Like
Clyde, that's the death of the Code.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
The Code is like 32, 33 through to what, 66, 67?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, like it was enjoyable watching this movie, and it's one of those, like, as a DeMille film, as a Gary Cooper film, as those kind of elements where it's like, I was griping to my wife earlier today. I was like, why, they really let Riel, like, they let him, he's such an interesting character. He's this historical figure. He's the father of Manitoba. He was like the great, mixed race character in Canadian history. And then, I wasn't expecting the movie to get into his religious fanaticism, but like this guy literally thought he was the Pope of the New World during this era. He thought that the Métis people were like the, like a kind of like lost tribe of Israel, like personified in the New World. He was very much like almost trying to be like a Canadian Joseph Smith at this moment, which really made a lot of the French Catholics very hesitant to support him. And so you get all those fascinating answers. I was like, oh man, it's really not capitalizing what an interesting main character you could get out of a Louis Riel movie. And she's like, well, why would Louis Riel be the main character? Gary Cooper's in it. Like,
I mean, that's fair.
It's at the end of the day, it's the Texas guy. It's the guy riding up, and he's being inserted as the outsider into this, foreign Canadian scenario. He's gonna get into this little, into the love triangle. He's going down for the bad guy who's there to, he's bringing whiskey, which is gonna, if you know anything about whiskey, he's gonna destroy all the, all the natives, right? Like with the fire water and stuff, and like, whiskey running was a big thing in that period too. Honestly, there's the Cypress Hills Massacre, and there's other interesting historical episodes in Saskatchewan in that period because of wolfers and other traders coming up from Fort Benton in Montana over the border and bringing whiskey specifically to sell to the tribes under the British. But like, that's not what this is about.
No.
I do have to say, I mean, it makes you think that Riel is going to be a much bigger character because he has that conflict of like, I don't want to throw in with you guys yet. It's not that time, and then he gets convinced at that first scene. In
When
the
he's literally the
schoolhouse.
first person you see.
Starts with him as this central figure.
And yeah, so I definitely understand being disappointed because I didn't even know that like anything about him. I just kind of knew what the film was setting up, so it feels like Demille like knew, oh, this is an important character. I'm gonna give some lip service to it at the beginning, and then I just don't know what to do with it. Yeah. Aaron, would it have been more offensive if he had cast Gary Cooper as Riel and then made him the main character that way?
I don't think it would have been more offensive, right? Like it's not even a matter of offense with this film. Like the Métis have been so trodden.
Yeah,
I don't think this film's been listed on their grievances of historical grievances or anything. But it's just one of those missed opportunities. But like, who's the guy who plays? I don't know that. I don't know the actor. He's what? He just puts on a little bit of like Tanner, and then now he's Louis Riel.
Yeah, it's. And I mean, this is also not Gary Cooper's best performance by a long stretch either. And so you're just like, it almost feel he as this outsider, which if done well, could have been interesting, and could have been our kind of gateway into the story. But it's completely wasted by him just being kind of a complete, lying sack of shit, largely.
I thought he was enjoyable kind of as like a...
Well, he's goofy,
comedy,
but
almost. Like he was kind of funny, like, where he doesn't recognize the word, reveille.
Reveille, yeah.
Yeah,
that sequence is funny.
Didn't they make a joke about ravioli or reveille or like the thing you eat or?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny because this is a weird math anecdote, but there's this word corollary, but my undergrad advisor, he's from Vancouver, British Columbia, and he always pronounced it corollary, and I guess that's at least that region of Canada's way of saying it. So I don't know. So it reminded me of some differences in linguistics and phonetics. So.
Yeah, no, I've often been told, because I'm from Saskatchewan, that my accent doesn't seem particularly Canadian. Because I don't have the flat like Ontario accent, which is very flat, like very. I have a little bit of the like prairie voice, but it's not so. Like my family members sound more like they're from Fargo, frankly. Some of them. No, seriously.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because like we're Scandinavian background and stuff, so like it's a lot more to do with Montana and Minnesota and the Dakotas than it does with like sense. Ontario or British Columbia.
I mean, it would be okay. So correct me, because my geography is shit when it comes to Canada. But Saskatchewan, is that part of the Great Plains? That central kind of like
Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba are the prairie provinces.
Okay, gotcha.
Saskatchewan's the middle one. It's right above Montana.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yep. Then I know the area.
Yeah.
So we're kin in that way, because I'm very much Great Plains as well. So
yeah, the beautiful flat,
the flat prairie, wheat.
Exactly. Wheat and canola, which I guess I don't know, what do you guys call it? Do you call it canola as well, or rapeseed?
Canola, but it's
canola.
Yep.
You know why it's called canola, right? Canned oil. Canola is literally a proprietary Canadian invention from Saskatchewan. It's this rapeseed that is bred to be specific.
I did not know that's where that name came from. I learned. Yeah. I knew it was.
I feel like we got schooled on this episode.
Well,
just because I picked a movie that I can be like, I'm a nerd, because I lived 40 kilometers from this. So like I know that one of my good friends growing up, his family's from Batoche, like they're Métis, like it's just
that's awesome. Well, I mean, it's enough. There's enough going on here in this discussion and from this movie that it makes me want to find an actual text talking about this. And
honestly,
so,
if you want to do a good Louis Riel biography that's very accessible, the cartoonist Chester Brown did
Chester
a
Brown.
Louis Riel. He's famous for this comic book called Pain Fort about his experience with sex workers, where
Okay.
his relationship broke up and he started using the sex workers, and he animated his own experiences with them. There's a movie with Sukin Lee directed it that came out like last year or this year or whatever. Anyways, he did a Louis Riel an animated biography, and it's just a comic book, but it's like a very good overview of Louis Riel's life from the Red River Rebellion, which is referenced in this movie a few times, but essentially the Métis were in Manitoba on the Red River, where Winnipeg is now today, and they had a rebellion, but it was a successful one where they set up a provisional government in opposition to John A. Macdonald's federal government in Ottawa, where they forced the issue and they got Manitoba acknowledged as a province within Confederation, and they like joined into and got like proper rights for all the Métis there and proper rights for all the settlers out there. And so the backstory here is like they thought they could just do it again in Saskatchewan. They could just do the same thing. But because John A. Macdonald had built the Canadian Pacific Railroad, he realized that his negotiating power was such that he could send troops out from Toronto. Within a few days, he could get the soldiers out to quell it, and he wouldn't have to come to the table and actually deal with him to do any of that. So, where's it going? I completely sidetracked here what I was going to say. But anyways, there's Riel. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying now.
Well, you were talking about the cartoonist. You get this whole history of what Riel means and what like the steps towards this culmination, I guess, of his life and career in the Northwest Rebellion, which leads to his execution. And that's the thing you don't get in the movie. Like you have Riel captured there, you have him prisoner when Gary Cooper throws the knife in, and Corbeau leaves so he can like trick him into becoming his own prisoner. The understated thing is like Riel's left to stay there to get hung. Yeah. Oof.
Even though, especially in this movie, it sets it up almost like he has very little to do with actually the overall violence. It's all Corbeau.
Yeah. I mean, I would even say the movie doesn't even give a sense of that he committed any crime necessarily. Like there were so many scenes where you had kind of the redcoats like just discussing with them, these big ideas with the other side and all these things that, you didn't really get the sense of like who is pushing forward with kind of a unexcusable offense, I guess. And that is interesting. Yeah. I would say as someone who didn't know the history behind this, I didn't get that vibe at all from this.
Riel almost seemed like a Yoda in this movie. Like just like he's there to provide encouragement and fortitude for the hero's journey as they move along, but he doesn't play a part necessarily in the story that would lead him to be the one that gets hung, or the implication of him being hung. That would have been strictly on Corbeau. And so it's just odd. Like, and that's the feeling that I get through the whole movie. Like, even not knowing any of the history of this, like, I never could get a sense of like, okay, so first off, like I said earlier, like, who are we supposed to be on the side of? And second off, like, who's actually at fault here? What are we fighting for? Like, what is the big conflict? Like, that it was never really established because there's so much of that history, like you were talking about before this, that they don't really set up. They allude to it, but if you don't know anything about that that period of time and that history, then you're just kind of lost. You're like, okay, is this just some? Because you could almost read this film as just making a comment about a small uprising that was really not about anything important, but kind of just happened and then got quelled. And
Maybe
about
that's
it.
why
So-
DeMille premiered it in Regina. It's like have all the kind of background. They can fill that in or something.
I guess.
But,
I don't know.
Yeah, I will. So like to what you're saying, Blake, it's like the Corbeau character seems to be inserted specifically to like pull all these elements together in a way that patches over the fact that the movie never actually clarifies its like perspective or its moral position, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Let's just insert a obviously written baddie who's an instigator. He's going to trick all the people. Like Louis Riel remains a sympathetic school teacher who wants his people to have some agency. Big Bear is this wise leader of the Cree, right? And like you get all the people that he pulls into his orbit. It's just a matter of he's just this piece of shit whiskey runner who has a Gatling gun who wants to just make money at the end of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like Corbeau's brought in last minute to resolve all of the irreconcilable issues with this as a narrative.
Do you think that he was brought in at the last moment as a way to patch over that? And then they were like, oh shit, we need an obvious goodie. So we're going to put a Texas Ranger in there played by Gary Cooper.
Well, I think the American, like the Texas Ranger coming up, I think is like has to be part of the initial view of this.
Yeah.
Because there's no way the story would be told otherwise, right?
That's fair.
It's not even the British film 49, is it 49th Parallel? Have you ever heard of this by Powell and Pressburger?
Never saw it, but yeah, I've heard of it.
It's really good. It's hilarious in moments because it's got like Laurence Olivier doing a French Canadian trapper accent and stuff, and like it's got Doukhobors and all these like little interesting pockets of Canadiana across the culture. But it's, if anybody's never even heard of this movie, it's essentially a propaganda film by Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger, the two great British filmmakers who made The Red Shoes, made Matter of Life and Death, etc. And so during World War II, they made this movie about a U-boat sinks in Hudson's Bay in Canada, and the Nazis make it to shore. And then the movie like traces these Nazis through these different Canadian communities where they're wreaking havoc and kind of like the attempts to capture them as these foreign agents on Canadian soil during World War II.
That actually sounds
it's really
amazing.
good. It's honestly really good. And it's very moving in moments, but it's also very entertaining. And it's a film that really uses Canadian geography correctly, actually, because it's filmed in Canada. And it jumps across and really like enjoys that movement from the Arctic down to the prairies into the mountains. So it's like,
okay.
It doesn't actually have anything like Ontario, Quebec, anything. It's like up in the trading post in Churchill and Nunavut area now, and then like down in kind of sweeps west. That movie really captures this that movie like understands the area and the scenario and everything, but it doesn't whatever. And with 49th Parallel. But back to this film. I keep sidetracking myself and like lose my own train of thought because I'm getting like deep into stupid esoteric bullshit.
Oh, I love it. Keep
We
it
love
coming.
that.
We love esoteric bullshit. It's our favorite thing.
No, but so whatever I was saying, the thing that I find interesting beyond like with Corbeau, he's like an obvious character thrown in there, but he's not really giving like any genuine sense of the geography of the history or anything. Whatever. There's lots of films that use a fictional character to solve a story issue. It's just disappointing because he's such a like nothing of a character. He's just such an empty baddie. But then also it's the most interesting aspect of him being entered from my perspective, from somebody who's from Saskatchewan, has, you know, you grow up being like very sympathetic to Louis Riel and these figures, is that it seems like his addition is not just to solve the narrative. It's also that even in 1940, these filmmakers who might be very ignorant of the history somehow understand that you can't make Louis Riel the villain. You can't set it up as this easy dynamic that the like British Canadians are the good guys and the Métis are the bad guys. It's even then understands that this is much trickier territory and that there's a sympathetic aspect here, even if they're on the wrong side of this like divide. And so I appreciate that, because it's frankly something that, I don't know, maybe if this movie was made in the 1980s,
Yeah.
under like the Reagan era, you wouldn't get that.
No, and going back to what you were saying is like it would be one thing if he was a entertaining obvious baddie.
No,
but he's not. He's not entertaining at all. And the other thing is that it seems like Demille understood that to some extent this was above his pay grade as far as the type of film he would want to make. Because you look at his other epics and you're like, they're fairly consistent. They're fairly like, story wise, they're pretty like you're on track the whole movie, and you're like, okay, this is what he was going for. This is what he was aiming for. He largely, for the most part, pulls it off. This one felt so deeply arbitrary and ambiguous in so many ways, and you putting it that way makes sense of why it felt so piecemeal, and especially in the character development arena, is because it almost feels like he understood that almost too well, and it just like destroyed any cohesion he could actually fit into the story because of that kind of historical knowledge of not stepping on toes that you don't need to step on.
Yeah, I almost think that's like the most gracious thing you can say, like, about what he does with Louis Riel's character, is that like, it kind of turns into a nothing burger, but like maybe that was Demille just saying like, I can't make him the villain, I can't really do anything with him, and I can't really give him depth, so he's just gonna be there and exist, and we'll show him a couple times, and then that's it. Yeah. So.
No, it's true. I was actually like right after finishing this movie, I was thinking of Riel in like with 10 Commandments or Sign of the Cross, and I do think he had enough of a sense to be like, if I were to transpose this story into like a biblical era, it's obvious that the Métis would be like the Hebrews, or like so they would be the early Christians. They'd be some kind of underdog narrative here.
Yep.
And so I can't do them dirty from like this basic story sense.
Yeah.
I can't completely like say that this is a basic black and white scenario. And so credit to him there at least.
Yeah.
Man.
That probably explains why it felt so confused. Like, I don't know.
No, probably.
I mean, that's a good hypothesis for that. I mean, again, Blake and I not having any of the historical context, we both came to it basically saying that same thing. Like, it just felt weird. Like, we didn't know what was going on, and then you came here and you're like, well, it was actually really complicated, and it kind of seemed.
And not only that, but it was really a significant event. Like it was a thing, and I was like, well, I could have come away from that just thinking this was some random event that happened in Canadian history that Cecil B. Demille came across when he was reading a history book, and he was like, oh, okay, I'll do that.
No, that is the funny thing. It's like it's probably like it's probably like the biggest Canadian event of the 1880s at the very least.
Okay.
Like in terms of defining the nation and just so many different ways. Like it's the first use of the Canadian Pacific Railway for military purposes. It's really setting the terms of additional provinces on their possibility of joining Confederation with Eastern Canada. It's, and the thing that's not explored at all in this movie, and to be fair, most nothing outside of Canada could ever get this dynamic, but like the defeat of the Métis and the hanging of Louis Riel essentially shattered any potential of Canada in its early going as an actual country to bridge the divide between English and French. Because the fact that they hung Louis Riel essentially said that like we have no interest in ever throwing a bone to the French side of this country. It's the English saying these are the terms of our engagement, and that's that. And like it was hugely controversial in Quebec that they killed Louis Riel. Like it became a sticking point for decades after this. And on top of all of their
is it
cultural
still a sticking
elements.
point to some extent now?
Oh, usually.
So
Okay.
I know that the company that I work for, like, I don't know if this is related, but we have to have all of our documentation that goes out to members in French as well as English.
That's just Canadian law.
Yeah, so and it's just Quebec too. Like only that, not every province. So I don't know.
No, there's only 2 provinces that actually have. So Quebec Quebec is not a duolingual. Like it's not bilingual as a province. It's only French.
Yeah. Okay.
So in Montreal they speak some English and stuff, and there's some municipalities around there that speak English, but like in Quebec they only speak French. In most of Canada they only speak English, and then in New Brunswick they speak both.
That's the other one that we get. We get like invoices that are in French and English too. So yeah. And
a little pocket in Nova Scotia, which is the Acadians, which is the Acadians are the source of the Creole, like the French Creole down in New Orleans. And so like those people are linked because they had issues in Nova Scotia, and then they went down all the way to the bayou.
Yeah.
See, you know what this episode did? It made me extremely fascinated in Canadian history now.
Nobody's ever said that.
Me
before.
too. No. It was. I definitely want
to. Just Saskatchewan. That's really it. All the rest of them can just like.
Aaron,
Saskatchewan's the least interesting.
I have a question. That Louis Riel biography. How long is it? How many pages? Is it big?
For the comic book? No, it's probably like 300 pages, maybe.
That's disappointing. I'm in this book club, but we only choose books that are like plus 800 pages.
What's he talking about? This is. You can pick it. He's talking about our book club. He's being a dick.
It's only 800 pages. I'm reading Brothers Karamazov right now. That's not even 800 pages, the copy I have. So, like, what kind of books are you reading?
I'm just giving Blake shit because every book, like, he invited me to join this book club, and every book is just a giant tome. And
he's only been part of 2 so
The History
far.
of the Fall of the Roman Empire, Part 1. History of the Fall of the Roman Empire, Part 2.
Basically.
Well, this one was written in 2008. So people still write long-ass books in 2008. So,
and the next one is Lonesome Dove. So it's also giant. Yeah,
it's 864 pages.
Anyway, so I'm trying to find a good giant.
We should do
book.
that. You should pick that.
You know this. What? I think I'm going to make you guys read Girdle Escher Bach. So that's my big contribution. So.
You're not going to go even further and you do I'm a Strange Loop?
Well, is that bigger? I thought that was smaller.
It's not bigger. It's not bigger, but it's more esoteric.
Yeah. So,
but remember, Gödel Escher Bach is it's the perfect example of the nonfiction book that was like New York Times bestseller, over 1 million copies sold. And my dad would always joke. He's like, my dad's a mechanical engineer, and he's like, I swear you could have like in brackets underneath over 1 million copies sold, and like 1,000 people have read it.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna force 3 more people to read it. So
I love it. Bring it on.
I always just, as a kid, I liked opening it up because I liked just looking at the Escher
There
Yeah.
are really good,
illustrations.
yeah, there are really good like parts of it too. Like every chapter kind of opens up with a weird, almost Alice in Wonderland esque you know kind of adventure or dialogue. So it's
We're
interesting.
we're not we're not gonna get into this today 'cause that's a whole other topic. But I do think that most discussions of books being like super difficult is like hugely overstated.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
kind of
just
like if
having-
you just read it, it's like no, if you're like committed to reading it, you're probably gonna get into it and understand it pretty easily if you actually read it like properly and not
It's more.
you're
it's
not
more
like
a
watching
matter
a TV show in the background and
Yeah.
you're actually reading like 20 pages at a time and actually
And it's
thinking
also a
about
matter of perseverance. Just getting
yeah, no,
through
but
it.
like the most snobbish thing I could ever say, but I stand by this. When I read Ulysses, I didn't think it was particularly like complicated. I was just like,
Yeah.
this is just like a very it's so like pure literature. It's like here's the theatrical part, and here's the poetic part, and here's all these things
Mhm.
here going on. But I'm like, you're just reading it for like it's fun. It's like
Yeah.
what's the sticking point here? Moby Dick's a little harder, I guess, because you have like here's 100 pages about how
Yeah.
you cut a whale open. But,
Yep. But even it's
But-
good. Like,
but
I
even
mean,
it's
I'm,
like-
I'm reading
hell-
it right now. So,
it's hilarious in
Yeah.
the first 200 pages. It's
Uh-huh.
so funny.
yeah, it's great. Yeah.
I mean, I just
Yeah.
think like reading anything well is just it's going to take effort. So, if you're going to do that, it almost doesn't matter what words. I mean, I guess there are certain maybe philosophy essays, maybe like Kant or something like that are like intentionally
read
like
Kant.
hard to parse.
Schopenhauer.
Okay, and I say that as a mathematician too, because there are bullshit math ideas out there that like I'm like you could have written this a lot easier, and and sure maybe that carries over into literature, but I think literature is generally pretty the whole point is you want to get a story across, so I think most authors in general want to do that. So
Yeah.
I agree
And, like,
with what you're saying.
No, but like the reason I like literature, especially, I think that is true of like Finnegan's Wake is maybe its own thing because it's really trying to like break language. That's the point, right? But even in nonfiction, something like Hofstadter's stuff,
Mm.
it's trying to be popular nonfiction. Like
Yeah.
it really is. And so when people are like, "This is so complicated," it's like, well, yes, it's quite esoteric. It's doing some pretty wild things compared. It's not like a self-help book or something, right?
Yeah.
It's not Atomic Habits, which is like, let's make this as basic as possible. But it is absolutely meant to be comprehensible for the widest amount of people who read books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I mean, it is a lot easier than reading proofs on Gödel's theorems, and you get a sense of these things. So, like, it succeeds at that. I do think there are maybe the one thing that it is kind of difficult for is like there are certain puzzles he'll put out in his books that like you do have to like sit down with the pen and paper if you want to solve them, but you don't have to. Like that's not. You can move on with the book and read it, and he's going to explain the ideas. So yeah.
You mean like it's not like a solve this and then like the book like actually unlocks the next page? And
Yeah, you can't turn it. Can't turn it until you input the solution. Yeah.
And if you put the wrong solution in, then it takes you on a different adventure. Like choose your own adventure, but it's because you're not very good at puzzles. So you end up like getting thrown down a well or something.
Somebody should make a like nonfiction, I don't know, philosophy book, but some kind of like nonfiction intellectual book where it's a true choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
But it's based off of like people's ideological bubbles. And so like the whole thesis of the book changes based off of like the assumptions you make based off the setup.
Ooh. Okay. Well,
But just imagine, it's like, I
we're gonna
read this
figure
book.
this out.
The argument
it-
here is just incredible. And then somebody else is like, I read that book. It did not say any of that.
Aaron, this is like using Facebook, right? You're just writing a book that's the experience of using Facebook, where you've got the algorithm gearing you towards
Yeah.
different realities.
Yeah, but you set it up as a ebook only, so it's only digital.
Yeah.
And so nobody who's
Ooh.
reading it is aware that there's an alternate. And it's based off of certain cues that are in the reading experience
That is
that it
hilarious.
feeds in, and then it shifts what comes next. But it's presented entirely credibly in terms of like sources and like argument,
Oh my
Well,
god.
yeah, we
but
could.
based off of that bubble.
Yeah, you could do this now with some sort
I
of
should-
machine learning.
I should
in the
figure out a way to
background.
do this.
Yeah. That will
I mean,
make
it's-
you $1
there's
million.
gotta be a way.
Yeah. I don't know.
They
No,
do-
there's no
they
money
do it.
because if the one side figured it out, they would hate it, and then the other side figured it out and they hate it. They'd realize that you're playing both sides, thus you're on no side, and then it would lose purchase because
Yeah, but
literature
then
or
they would-
content
they
right
would
now
never
is
talk to each other.
no, but it doesn't matter. It's things nowadays are only about whether you identify who to hate or what the side is like against. Nothing is for anything now, right? It's only what is
Oof.
oppositional
You
definition.
you had to bring that up again, didn't you? You just had to like make this episode ending a downer.
So
Yeah.
I do want to. I forgot where I was going with that. I was trying to tie it back to the movie. I was trying.
Yeah,
to tie
unlike the Northwest Mounted Police, which was everybody left that feeling great.
It's a good color.
Everybody won.
Red.
everybody
It's a
won.
good color.
I will say it is a challenging movie in the fact that you watch it and you don't know what was going on, and you have to concoct a podcast where someone who understands the history behind it tells you what was going on, and then you finally walk away with the unlocked version of Northwest Mounted Police.
To be fair, that the person who attempts to unlock it, let's just say that, is the person who made you watch it.
This is true. I am coming away
There you
from
go.
this really enjoying my time with this movie and post discussion. So thank you. I appreciate
Well, yeah.
that.
Now I actually enjoy my time with the movie more because
Yeah.
of this discussion. So
It brought me back to all those days of, like, honestly, Batoche is one of my favorite places. It's
well,
just
then
so
I'm
gorgeous.
going to add that to my list of places I need to visit. And I will call you up and I'll be like, you've got to take me there because I know nothing about this.
There is when I was a kid, they would have this like kind of animatronic video that would play there, and I specifically remember the presentation of Johnny McDonald as basically like so sorry, just background here is like I think of like Hall of Presidents stuff
Hmm.
and of like George Washington, all your like American history, even though everything has been complicated, especially in the last 10 years of discourse,
Mhm.
you still get like this kind of wholesome presentation of George Washington with historical mass culture things, right? And so Hall President's the perfect example, and it's like what a gent, like what George Washington, what a wise man. But in Canada, even the 90s growing up, you get John A. Macdonald, father of Confederation, first Prime Minister of Canada, and he's just this like monstrous drunken Scot who literally is just the phrase that will stick with me for the rest of my life is, even though every dog in Quebec will bark, Riel will hang. And he's referring to the French people who live French Canadians. And but it's this awesome, like really kind of rickety, old timey. Honestly, it could have been like a robot or something, but like a little video vignette of him there. And I'm just like, this is what you'd had to watch when you went to Batoche. And you'd have these awesome narrations of like actual letters from Métis leaders and people living in the community and stuff, but framed against this just like monstrous drunk.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Wow. Man,
We're much less precious with the fathers of our country.
that's fair. Yeah, we are very precious with ours,
Yeah.
even when they're complicated.
I mean, I think we frankly swung a little too far. Like, Johnny McDonald is an interesting figure. He's not a he's not a throw him out and don't think about him anymore figure. He's like, Canada would not exist if he had not done what he did. It's just, he's not uncomplicatedly admirable.
Yeah. And isn't that humanity?
We're making you think, folks. We're making you think.
We're making you think. Well, Aaron, thank you for joining us. We don't want to use up all of your Canadian history just for this podcast with the what 17 people that listen to us.
We don't want to use up all of your night. Because you are on the East Coast.
You have 17 listeners, and then after this amount of Canadian history, which is like poison for like you're gonna go down to like at least 14, maybe 12.
This is the most substantive stuff they've heard in at least 2 years. So
yeah, I think we're gonna get an 18th actually. From this.
18th, definitely.
Yeah,
we're going for number 18.
You got to geo-target Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and then see how it goes.
Should I just like cold email people in that area? Hey, listen to this podcast.
You do an ad specifically for Batoche and Duck Lake. Yeah.
We'll just get a billboard for the podcast right there.
I mean, there is a museum in Duck Lake. It'd probably be quite cheap. You could get an advertisement at the actual museum where you can learn about these battles. So you should put.
I'm gonna do some querying, and we'll see what we can do.
If we do that, could you drive there and take a picture?
I live like 4 days from.
Then never mind. I think we all live about 4 days.
I think Blake might actually be closer.
Okay.
That is
geographically. Because Ontario is like pretty far from Saskatchewan.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we've done stranger shit on this show, so I mean,
I don't know if we've done stranger shit than that. That would be.
Well, we've had stranger ideas than that.
Okay, yeah.
That's actually like a pretty reasonable like possibility, and it's something I might just try to do.
Like, this would be our first ad. We've never advertised this podcast.
That's because we're not making this for profit.
No.
Jameson, no one would pay for this.
True.
Anyways, thank you so much, Aaron, for coming on the show. This was fascinating, like truly fascinating. And we're not just blowing smoke up your ass, but truly fascinating episode for a movie that I did not expect us to get into such interesting waters with. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on.
And as we always do, we're just gonna cold close this bitch. Bye.
Bye.